This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, you didn't know? You better let somebody know, because I'm back and I'm here. Welcome. I am the Big Tyme. We are in studio. This is another episode of the Big Tyme Rants, which I believe it's episode 88. 88 episodes in the can. That is definitely crazy to think about, that I have put that many episodes already into this idea. Yeah, episode 88, Big Tyme Rants. What are we going to talk about today? Let's talk about the love letter that Tony Khan pretty much wrote to WWE last night on AEW Dynamite. Crazy. The internet, the wrestling world is just beside itself almost, and all of this, and it's just an insanity that never needed to happen. So last night on AEW, it seemed like AEW, Tony Khan or whoever, just kind of kept addressing WWE. We had a Rhodes versus a Samoan, a Joe of a Samoan versus a Rhodes, and that Joe busted up a Rhodes and made him bleed on TV. So a Samoan made a Rhodes bleed on AEW TV, and people want to complain that Jade copied the debut of Sasha Banks, and WWE copies AEW. Now that we put the foot on the other hand, and this is a lot more blatant because it's a Rhodes versus Samoan right after Cody beat Roman Reigns, and of course Dustin Rhodes got to look like a chump, lost the match, and it was all for naught. A short little package to get you from Saturday night to Wednesday to watch a match that you already knew the outcome for. Great job helping Dustin look good, build good. When Dustin Rhodes is a legend in this business who deserves all the accolades and should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, won't be until, well, we'll have to see, but what a damn shame. This man couldn't have won this Eliminator match since it was an Eliminator match. Why couldn't he get a win over Joe and then get a future world title match in the future? At least he would have been eligible. At least you could have got a shining moment. You could have even used Swerve to help catalyst this win. Would it have sucked in some aspects? Sure. But now letting Dustin beat Joe and having Samoa Joe versus Dustin on a Wednesday after WrestleMania, where Cody Rhodes beat Joanna White, Roman Reigns for the world title. It was just bad timing. I thought maybe at the beginning of the show when Swerve attacked Joe, maybe they were going to postpone this match in some form or another, which would have been fine. But no, they went ahead and ended the main event with this match, and it just wasn't. It was a decent match. I mean, the match in the ring, the wrestlers in the ring put on a decent match. But it was really hard to get any excitement out of this because it just felt like a love letter to WWE. Like, look what you can do. We can do it. Something. I don't know if Tony Khan thought they could do it better or what, but it was a damn shame. But it just seems like that screamed, "Hi WWE, look what we can do. We have a Samoan and a Rhodes. We could do it too." And you just shake your head. And it really comes after all the other Fallout crap that just doesn't do anything. And we'll rewind it all the way back to the very beginning. But it's just a shame that we saw that. It was a decent match in ring, but again, it just felt too much of a copy, and it's hard to debate that. It's just like, what's different here? Why is Dustin Rhodes all of a sudden winning the world title? That's one of my biggest gripes. Why on Saturday night, after WrestleMania Night 1, before Night 2, before Cody even was announced the new WWE Champion, WWE Undisputed Universal Champion, whatever they're going to call that title nowadays, why are we announcing Cody Rhodes versus Samoa Joe for Wednesday, for Dynamite? Well, why? Why is Dustin Rhodes coming out now saying it's time for him to finish his story? He deserves a world title, which is absolutely truth. He deserves a world title shot. He deserves a world title run for his history, but he hasn't really been built to be a character that's in that main event spot since Goldust. Sadly, he deserves better. Granted, no doubt about that. Loved Dustin Rhodes. Loved everything Dustin Rhodes did. Loved Dustin Rhodes all the way back to the Natural. I even watched that bunkhouse, that match in the back of a trailer. You gotta love Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes went out there to try and prove himself. Found a character that got him over. His Goldust was one of the greatest characters. Probably not one of his favorite things to do in the beginning, but we got there. And now he's made his name, made his legacy in the match. But right after his brother wins the world title, we're going to put him in a match for the world title, but not a real match because it's only an eliminator. He's got to beat Joe to get a title match. Sometimes you just go, what do you do? What do you say? It is sad how it's gone this way with AEW. Not only that, we had AEW address WWE with Will Ospreay. And there's back and forth rumors here. One is saying that Ospreay didn't want to do this, but Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful have come out and said that Will Ospreay showed up early to work on this promo and was excited to work on this promo. Will Ospreay going out on national TV and grabbing at the lowest fruit on the tree. It was terrible. It didn't make Will Ospreay look good at all. It just cheapened Will Ospreay, honestly, in my opinion. Now, granted, people are going to feel different. That's fine. You can drop your comments down here in the comment section below. Tell me how I'm wrong. Blah, blah, blah. We get all the comments. I mean, we're like ducks. It rolls off our back. We mostly laugh at some of these comments and the mass hysteria that goes down. But Will Ospreay looked bad. And if you're a New Japan fan that loves Will Ospreay, you have to admit this does not make him look really that good. To have him come in and cut a promo against Triple H, because supposedly, again, if we go back to the Pat McAfee show, if we go where Triple H is talking about wrestlers that didn't come in, that didn't sign with the company, that they wanted a softer schedule or an easier schedule, or it didn't fit into what they wanted, they didn't want to put in the grind to come to WWE. They didn't want to work that schedule. They didn't want to have to work through the Performance Center and get trained how to do it the WWE way. They didn't want to put that grind in. And Triple H goes, I didn't want you in the first place. I'm glad I didn't get you. Whatever. The scenario is that this was a shot from Triple H onto Will Ospreay. This was like some direct shot. Now, granted, Triple H didn't say anybody's name. He spoke about wrestlers that were signing that didn't come to the brand, that wanted to work a lot of their schedule, that when you're this young or at that stage in your career, that if you don't want to put in the grind, then I don't want you. If you don't want to come put in the effort and you want to take an easier schedule, which is fine. I'm not saying anybody, if somebody looks at WWE and looks at the schedule they keep and goes, well, I don't really want to do that schedule. And excuse me for a second. I don't want to do that schedule. And then look at AEW and go, but I can have an easier schedule and get more money. And that's kind of what AEW is. And that's what's good about AEW in its sense, is that they offer people options, that they don't just have to go to WWE and work and do that. They can go to AEW. But Triple H's sentiment, and it is his sentiment, he is the man at WWE now. He may not own the company, but WWE is his life, been his life, all his career pretty much. And he is there. And so his aspect is to make WWE better. And if you want to be there to be with WWE, then yeah, he expects you to put in the grind and put in the effort. And if you don't want to put in that effort, if you don't want to put in that grind with WWE, then yeah, I can understand when he's like, I'm glad I didn't get you. You don't want to be here. I don't want people who are not going to be here. Now, the internet world and the social media world and the IWC and what we're a part of, I know people take this context and go, oh, he's talking about Will Ospreay. He's deliberately attacking Will Ospreay. We'll say Will Ospreay doesn't want to do the grind. And the context I take that in, I don't understand why people only want to. We want to talk about staying away from the negativity and only focusing on the positivity. Why can't people look at it that way and say Triple H is saying, okay, he didn't want to be here for the grind. I didn't need him. I don't want him. If you're not here to do the grind this way, then, go do what you're doing over there. But, I didn't need you. Why is that got to be negative? Why is that going to be a negative connotation? Why is Triple H assumingly being negative there when he's saying, hey, I didn't want you. I don't want you if that's what you want. I mean, it's the same thing for Tony Khan. Why does Tony Khan have people in his company that don't want to be there? Let's make sense of this a little bit. If somebody doesn't want to be in your company, why are you going to have them there? They are anchored. They're a hindrance to your growth. They don't want to be there and be a part of the company and help it grow. If they're just there to collect a paycheck, are they really doing anything that's benefiting your company? It's the same for the people who didn't want to be in WWE that have asked for the release and said, I'm not happy here. I don't want to be here. Why have them there? They're not there to do what you need them to do, to put in the grind, to put in the work, to put in the effort for your company, then why have them there? So if Will Ospreay is like, hey, I don't want to do the WWE style, I don't want to work, every day, every week. I like to fly home and come back, and work and do my thing and get paid a nice paycheck. And he's perfectly fine and feeling that way. And that's what he wanted. Triple H is saying no, he didn't want to come here. And if Triple H is saying he didn't want to come here and put in the grind and put in the effort, then I didn't want him. Then what is the harm there? Why is this having to be shots? Is this not Triple H saying, if you don't want to be here and put in the effort, I don't want you in WWE? That would go for anybody. I'm sure if you sat down Triple H and said, so if Joe Schmoe came over here and talked to you and said, oh, I don't want to work all those schedules, I don't want to work all those dates, I don't want to go to the PC, I don't want to do that, Triple H is going to look at that person and go, okay, well, I don't want you here. You don't want to put in the grind for WWE, what it takes to be a WWE superstar, because it is different in WWE than it is in AEW, and different than it is in New Japan Pro Wrestling and TNA. They're all different. Why do you think they have NXT? Why is NXT the first step for a lot of stars when they come in? Why is Julia, one of the largest women's stars in professional wrestling from Stardom, coming over and pretty much going to open up in NXT? Now, a few stars have made the big jump, but where's Jade Cargill been? Jade Cargill's been learning the WWE way. You have to learn the WWE way to make it over in WWE. And Will Ospreay didn't probably want to do that. He didn't want to put in the schedule, didn't want to put in the effort, and that's fun. This isn't disking on Will Ospreay. Don't get my words twisted. This is an attack on Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay didn't want to do the WWE style, and that is fine. He looked at AEW, go, I'm going to get more money. I have to work less dates. I can have an easier schedule. I can spend time at home with family, whatever he has. I don't know. I don't know the man personally. I don't know all the man's little personal stories and what his life's about. I don't dive into those in depth on a lot of things. If it's out there in public and we know about it, it's different, but I don't really pay attention to every little detail. So Will Ospreay chose a different schedule, which means he wasn't down the grind in WWE. So you come out and shoot a promo that says, oh, I'm not about the grind, and then you want to shoot at Triple H that the only reason he is where he is because he's grinding the boss's daughter. A joke that's as old as the Attitude Era. This was Attitude Era jokes. These are Attitude Era comments. If you think this offended Triple H, he's probably laughing that you even gave him attention on AEW TV, that he has gotten in the minds of AEW so badly that they're talking about him on AEW. CM Punk and Triple H got into the minds of AEW, Tony Khan, obviously Will Ospreay, and they had to talk about them on WWE or AEW TV. God, I'm getting myself confused. I'm over here talking and just like, give me 1 second. Excuse me. I had to sneeze. And I roll live. Well, in a sense, I'm not live. I'm recording this, but we are here. Anyways, Will Ospreay addressing Triple H was unnecessary. It didn't benefit him, didn't make him look any better, and he went for the lowest hanging fruit by attacking Triple H on the fact that he married Stephanie McMahon. And that's a joke that's old as time. It doesn't do anything to make Ospreay look any better. Why Ospreay needed to even comment is beyond me. Why Ospreay felt the need to go to that level makes him look really juvenile. And go out there and wrestle. That's what you're good at. You're a good wrestler. You're great on a mic. Yes, very good on a mic. But don't let the rumors and the speculations and the internet world get you thinking that something's being said that really was not necessarily what you're trying to take it and twist it into be. I'm sorry. I think Will Ospreay is a great talent. I don't have anything against him, but I think he was wrong in this instance. I think he was wrong for going for the lowest hanging fruit. Be the bigger man. If you are in AEW to be the legend and the superstar that you are, that we know from Japan, be the bigger man. I mean, you could have addressed it. You could have addressed, oh, I'm not here for the grind. Well, I'm going to show everybody how I grind. I'm going to show everybody what I'm going to do, because I can grind, and I will show the world that I will grind and be the best at it and put in the effort and be here each and every week and all the pay-per-views and blah, 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 without having to mention. That's where it got bad. Anyways, the bigger news on the show, the Young Bucks came out. They opened up their little segment trying to create controversy for a match with with FTR. FTR and the Young Bucks are set to face each other off at Dynasty for the AEW Tag Team Championships, which have been vacated after Sting and Darby Allin beat the Young Bucks at Dynasty, or not at Dynasty, at Revolution. Excuse me, I'm thinking Dynasty. Sometimes things just get mixed up. But anywho, Revolution, AEW, Sting and Darby Allin won, and then they released, Sting retired. They vacated the tag team titles. They held a tag team title tournament, which was pretty much featured for the Young Bucks and FTR to have their 4th match in AEW. Now, somewhere, whether it was the Young Bucks, whether it was Tony Khan, whoever it was, decided that they needed to bring heat to this feud. A feud that already had 3 matches, a feud that could be built up simply based on those 3 matches, that FTR is 2-1 against the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks have lost twice now to the FTR. These are for the tag team titles. These are for the vacant tag team titles. And they could build a huge storyline about who is going to be the real tag team after this. Who's going to win these tag team titles and carry AEW into the future as the tag team champions. But Young Bucks, Tony Khan decided to go, well, we're going to spin this. We're going to use video footage from All In so we can put it out there because CM Punk talked crap about us. Even though CM Punk really didn't talk crap. He said there was an issue. He told Tony Khan to address it. He didn't. Jack Perry on live pay-per-view 0-hour show said Real Glass, Cry Me a River, which triggered Punk. Punk went to talk to him. They had a conversation. Now, in this video, you can't hear the words. And I'm sorry. You can say that Punk was wrong. He shouldn't have put his hands on Perry, which in a work environment, yes. But again, in a sports work environment, I mean, if you don't know, there's been tussles on and off the field in football with teammates and baseball and basketball. We see this all the time in legitimate sports. No doubt about it. I mean, there's football players that argue and fight with one another, even though it may not always come out, but it is in the locker room. We've seen baseball players fight amongst themselves. We've seen teammates. Basketball is notorious at different times for teammates getting into it with one another. So I guess we have to look at it. If 2 players get into it on the same team, is it really that? Or is it 2 people that got into it? You go, granted, in a normal work environment, if somebody would have put their hands on somebody else, they would be fired. But this is sports. So, if you're legends in sports, would have done this. If Tom Brady would have gotten pissed off at Bill Belichick so bad that he put hands on Bill Belichick, should Tom Brady have been fired? Same idea, same concept. If there was footage of Tom Brady attacking Bill Belichick in the locker room after a game where they got an argument over whatever it was, if Belichick said, Brady, you ain't the greatest quarterback in the NFL, and Brady took exception to that, and they got in a fight, would you want Tom Brady? If let's say Bill Belichick didn't touch Brady. He just said something to him. And Brady lunged at him and attacked him. Would you want Tom Brady fired? Answer that for me. LeBron James was, fighting with his teammate. Nah. I mean, is it the same? Or is it different? Is it different because it's CM Punk? Is it the haters that want to hate on Punk? If somebody had a disagreement in the old days, you don't think people fought in the back locker room? I mean, should Bret Hart have been fired when he sucker punched Vince McMahon when Vince McMahon didn't do anything? Now, granted, he screwed Bret with that funky finish, and he took his lickings because he felt even Redacted felt he deserved to take the lickings for what happened. But shouldn't, in the same instance, Bret Hart be fired? He put hands on Vince. Now, granted, Bret was leaving for WCW, so you can't really fire him. But let's look at it that way. There's been many instances in wrestling like that. So, because it's CM Punk, he puts his hands on Jack Perry. We've seen the footage. Anyways, after the match, Jack Perry comes through the curtain. CM Punk approaches him. They have a conversation. We don't know what's said in the conversation. And then eventually Punk shoves Perry, then goes at him, locks him in a headlock. After he's pulled away by Joe, Punk kind of swings at Perry. Then he turns and goes off on what we believe is Tony Khan in the corner where all the monitors are. We see Chris Hero and Jerry Lynn restrain Punk, calm him down. Malachi Black walks on the screen and tries to figure out what it is. He follows Punk off screen, and here we are. And so this, Young Bucks want to use this to say that FTR screwed him, because how do we know that FTR didn't mastermind this whole thing, for one? And that they were distracted taking care of business, even though the Young Bucks weren't anywhere in that scene. They weren't involved. They weren't grabbing anybody. They weren't having any conversations with anybody. Never before have the Elite, the Young Bucks, the Tampon Bucks, whatever we're going to call them these days, had a whole, like, a friendship on screen with Jack Perry. They talked about the scapegoat, but they didn't really do anything to help Jack Perry. Where is the beginning of a Jack Perry return? They show the videos. They got to talk Jack Perry because it's different than CM Punk. They don't want to acknowledge Punk. And they left this video out here and tried to twist it into a storyline where, oh, they weren't ready. They didn't get to get hydrated and pray before the match because they were having to be bosses to take care of an issue that looked like it was pretty much over then. And what we know was Jack Perry was told to leave the arena. So shortly after that, somebody told Jack Perry, go get your shift and get out of here. CM Punk went out in the ring and wrestled Joe. So who were the Young Bucks talking to, unless they were talking to Jack Perry before he left and sympathizing with him and going, oh, poor Jack, oh, big bad CM Punk attacked you. What were they really doing? This is a pathetic excuse. This video footage did not help AEW, did not help anything grow, move forward, or really advantage anything. This does not bring heat to this, and FTR came out afterward, gave a passionate promo, but it's just a shame that they even had to say some of the stuff that was in this because they were reiterating a lot of stuff that's on the internet. Why show this footage? The FTR versus Young Bucks sells itself on its own. These teams have usually been good together in the ring. The in-ring quality is great. You have a story right there. Will FTR go up 3-1 over the Young Bucks and win the tag team titles? Will the Young Bucks even it up to go 2-2? Are we ever going to know who the greatest tag team in this modern era is? Is it the FTR? Is it the Young Bucks? Who's going to dominate? Who's going to walk out of Dynasty as the new tag team champions? There's all that stuff that's selling on. This isn't that a damn thing. It's a shame that Tony Khan went here, and this is Tony Khan crying in his corner, writing a love letter to WWE as an abused ex-girlfriend, maybe. Not even an abused ex-girlfriend. Honestly, this is more of a girlfriend that's unhinged, that got rejected or got dumped, and she wants the boyfriend back. And she's hanging on and trying to do everything she can to get her ex-lover back. It's just bad. He didn't do anything for you, Tony. Why doesn't anybody tell Tony some of these things are bad? Does Tony not understand what it is just to make himself look bad? It did not help him. It did not help him look any better. It did not. It did not help him in any advantage. It didn't help him in any way. People are going to say, oh, it made CM Punk look like a unhinged praise man because he attacked Jack Perry when Jack Perry was just playing with his hair. Oh, CM Punk's such a liar. Where did Punk lie? You don't know what the conversation is. You don't know what the words that were coming out. Now, granted, some of the story was Perry came at Punk as an aggressor, but I mean, it does look in the video footage that Punk was the aggressor, came up a little heated, had a conversation that went on for a very long time before it went into pushing and shoving. So, I don't know what to say. It is crazy that we've gotten here, and this is what AEW puts out. And they're more worried about WWE, and WWE is not even worried about them. Even if you want to say WWE took shots at them all weekend during WrestleMania, not really. WWE saying, oh, they're competition for themselves because they don't have competition. How is AEW competition to WWE just because they're in the same realm of sports, wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever? They're in the same category as wrestling. AEW does not touch WWE by far in any way. Nobody looks at them at the same level. If you're WWE is its own thing, and it's a thing that's falling very quickly. AEW is not competing to make WWE better. AEW isn't even reaching the status of WCW when it was competing with WWE. Anyways, on the big time, I ran it long enough. It's time to move on. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you ring that bell for notifications when any new contact video or anything else comes out. You'll be notified. you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Join the Value Wrestling family. We're on a march to 1,000. Lots of good things coming out of 1,000. We can't wait to get there. We can't wait to open the doors to the Value Wrestling in the future right here on YouTube. I thank you for being here. I will see you on the next one.